Welcome to Clarity Code. We deliver powerful audiobooks designed to help you silence the noise, master your discipline, and reprogram your mindset. No distractions, just the blueprint for your transformation. Subscribe, and let's get to work. Change everything in 90 days. Introduction. Listen carefully. The next 90 days are not just another period in your life. They are your reset point. You are either going to look back 3 months from now with pride, or with regret. There is no middle ground. Because everything you want, your body, your money, your discipline, your confidence, is not years away. It's 90 days of focused execution away. Not motivation. Not luck. Not talent. Execution. Repetition. Obsession. This is not a motivational talk. This is a command. If you follow what you hear, you will change everything. If you ignore it, nothing will change. The clock has already started. Chapter 1. Stop waiting. Your life is already late. Let's get one thing clear. You are not early. You are not on time. You are already late. Late to becoming who you said you would be. Late to starting what you keep thinking about. Late to fixing the habits that are quietly destroying your life. And yet, you're still waiting. Waiting for the right time. Waiting to feel ready. Waiting for motivation. Waiting for permission. You have a choice. You can continue waiting and stay exactly where you are. Or you can act now and finally change everything. That's the key. Most people believe they need the perfect moment to begin. They think clarity comes first. Confidence comes first. Motivation comes first. Wrong. Action comes first. The person who starts messy beats the person who waits perfectly. Every time. Look at real life. 2 people decide to get in shape. One says, "I'll start next week. I need the right plan." The other says, "I'm starting today," and does 20 push-ups in their room. 3 months later, one has results. The other has excuses. You already know which one wins. It's not about knowledge. It's not about planning. It's about execution. You don't need more time to think. You need to move. Here's the truth most people avoid. Waiting is not harmless. Waiting is expensive. Every day you delay, you are reinforcing the version of yourself that avoids action. Every time you say, "tomorrow," your brain learns something dangerous. That you don't follow through. And once your brain learns that, it becomes your identity. I'm the type of person who doesn't start. I'm the type of person who quits. I'm the type of person who waits. You see the problem? You're not just delaying success. You're training failure. You have a choice. Break that pattern today, or live inside it forever. Let's talk about the lie of the right time. There is no right time. There is only time, and what you do with it. You think successful people had perfect timing? No. They started when it was uncomfortable. They started when they were unsure. They started when it felt inconvenient. That's why they win. Because they moved when others hesitated. That's the key. You don't need their permission. Not your friends. Not your family. Not society. You don't need approval to improve your life. And yet, many people stay stuck because they're waiting for someone to say, "Now it's okay." It's already okay. In fact, it's necessary. Here's what you need to understand. Starting is the hardest part. But it's also the most powerful. The moment you take action, real action, you break the cycle. Even if it's small. Especially if it's small. Because small actions build momentum. And momentum builds identity. And identity changes everything. So what should you do? Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now, you start small, but you start immediately. If your goal is fitness, do something today. Push-ups, walking, anything. If your goal is money, take one action. Research, call, plan, execute. If your goal is discipline, prove it. Do one thing you've been avoiding. That's it. You don't need a perfect system. You need a first step. You have a choice. Let's remove another excuse. I don't feel ready. Good. You're not supposed to feel ready. Readiness is a myth created by fear. No one feels ready before they change their life. They feel uncertain. They feel uncomfortable. They feel resistance. And they act anyway. It's not about feeling ready. It's about being disciplined. That's the difference. Here's a powerful truth. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. You don't think your way into a better life. You act your way into it. Every step forward teaches you something. Every delay teaches you nothing. So ask yourself, are you learning or are you waiting? Let's be honest. You already know what you need to do. You've thought about it 100 times. Start the business. Fix your health. Wake up earlier. Stop wasting time. The problem is not awareness. The problem is action. And action starts now. This is where your 90-day transformation begins. Not with a plan. Not with motivation. With a decision. A decision that you will no longer wait. A decision that you will act, imperfectly, consistently, relentlessly. Because 90 days from now is coming no matter what. You have a choice. Arrive there with results, or with regret. Let this sink in. Every successful person you admire made one critical move. They started before they were ready. They didn't wait for confidence. They built it through action. They didn't wait for clarity. They created it through execution. They didn't wait for change. They became it. That's the key. So here's your instruction. Simple, direct, non-negotiable. Today, you take action. Not later today. Now. One step. One move. One decision. Break the cycle of waiting. Because once you do that, everything changes. Remember this phrase. Start now. Start messy. Start anyway. Say it again. Start now. Start messy. Start anyway. This is how transformation begins. Not perfectly, but immediately. You've been waiting long enough. Your life is not going to pause for you to figure things out. Time is moving. Opportunities are passing. And your potential is sitting unused. You have a choice. Act or stay stuck. You stopped waiting. Good. Now it's time for something even harder. Because starting is powerful. But becoming someone new, that's where the real work begins. You can't build a new life with an old version of yourself. You must let go of who you were, to become who you need to be. You started the process. Now let's redefine you completely. Chapter 2: Kill your old identity. You cannot change your life if you keep protecting your old identity. That is the truth most people avoid. You say you want success, discipline, confidence, but your daily actions are still loyal to the old version of you. The lazy version. The distracted version. The version that quits when it gets uncomfortable. You have a choice. You either protect who you were, or you become who you need to be. You cannot do both. That's the key. Your identity is not something you are born with. It is something you repeat. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you believe you are. When you skip work, you vote for being inconsistent. When you delay, you vote for being weak. When you follow through, you vote for discipline. This is not about personality. It's not about talent. It's about repetition. You don't become confident by thinking. You become confident by doing things that require confidence. You don't become disciplined by wishing. You become disciplined by acting like someone who doesn't negotiate with excuses. That's the key. Most people are trapped because they are emotionally attached to their old identity. They say things like, "That's just how I am," or "I've always been like this." That is a lie. A comfortable lie. Because if you accept that identity, you don't have to change. But understand this clearly, you are not your past habits. You are your current actions. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. Keep repeating the past, or break it completely. You don't need their permission. Not from your past. Not from your failures. Not from anyone. Here's the hard truth. Your brain will try to protect your old identity. Even if that identity is weak. Even if that identity is holding you back. Why? Because it's familiar. Your brain prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar growth. So when you try to change, you feel resistance. You feel discomfort. You feel like stopping. That is not a sign to quit. That is a sign you are breaking the old version of yourself. That's the key. It's not about motivation. It's about identity discipline. You act like the person you want to become, before you feel like it. You wake up early, even when you feel tired. You work, even when you don't feel like it. You stay consistent, even when no one is watching. This is how identity is built. Not in big moments, but in small, repeated decisions. You have a choice. Act like your future self, or remain your past self. Let's make this practical. If your goal is to be fit, you stop identifying as someone trying to get in shape, and start acting like someone who trains daily. If your goal is financial growth, you stop saying, "I want money," and start acting like someone who manages, builds, and respects money. If your goal is discipline, you stop saying, "I'll try," and start proving it with actions. Every single day. That's the key. You don't need to feel different to become different. You need to act different. Feelings will follow actions, not lead them. This is where most people fail. They wait to feel motivated, confident, or ready. That day never comes. Winners don't wait for feelings. They create results. And results create belief. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do. Let's address excuses. "I've tried before." That doesn't matter. "I failed before." That doesn't matter. It's hard. It's supposed to be. None of that changes what needs to happen next. Action. Repetition. Discipline. You have a choice. Stay stuck in your story, or rewrite it with your behavior. You don't need their permission to change your life. You need to decide. This is where your 90-day transformation becomes real. Because now it's not just about starting. It's about becoming. Becoming someone who shows up. Becoming someone who executes. Becoming someone who doesn't quit. Identity is not built in one day, but it is built every day. Every decision matters. Every action counts. Every moment is a chance to reinforce the new version of you. Repeat this. I am what I do, not what I say. Again, I am what I do, not what I say. This is your new standard. No more empty promises. No more delayed action. Only proof. Only results. Only discipline. That's the key. And understand this. Once your identity changes, everything becomes easier. Discipline becomes natural. Consistency becomes automatic. Progress becomes inevitable. Why? Because you are no longer forcing yourself to act. You are simply being who you are. That is power. So here is your instruction. Starting today, you stop negotiating with your old identity. You do not ask, "Do I feel like it?" You ask, "What would my future self do?" And then you do it. Immediately. Without hesitation. Without excuses. This is how you killed the old version of you. You've started. You've made the decision. Now you are becoming someone new. But understand this. There is an enemy that will try to pull you back every single day. It's not your environment. It's not other people. It's something more dangerous. Chapter 3. Discipline over motivation, every time. Motivation is a lie you have been sold your entire life. It feels good. It sounds powerful. It gives you a temporary high. But it does not last. And anything that does not last cannot build a new life. That's the truth. You have a choice. You can keep chasing motivation and stay inconsistent. Or you can build discipline and become unstoppable. That's the key. Motivation depends on feelings. Discipline ignores them. Motivation says, "I'll do it when I feel ready." Discipline says, "I do it whether I feel like it or not." That is the difference between average and transformation. Because feelings change every day. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel tired. Some days you feel focused. Some days you feel distracted. If your actions depend on your feelings, your results will always be unstable. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. Look at real life. The person who goes to the gym only when they feel motivated will go maybe once or twice a week. The person who goes regardless of how they feel will go 5 or 6 times a week. After 90 days, the difference is not small, it is massive. One has results. The other has excuses. You already know which one you want to be. You have a choice. Here's what most people don't understand. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you build. And you build it the same way every time. By doing what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like doing it. Especially when you don't feel like doing it. That's the key. You wake up and feel tired. Discipline says get up anyway. You plan to work but feel distracted. Discipline says focus anyway. You want to quit halfway. Discipline says finish anyway. This is how you train your mind. Not by thinking, but by acting. Every time you follow through, you are sending a message to yourself. I am someone who executes. And that identity becomes stronger with every repetition. You don't need their permission to be disciplined. You don't need the perfect routine. You don't need ideal conditions. You need a standard. A non-negotiable standard. A line you do not cross. For example, I train every day. I work on my goal every day. I do not skip. Simple rules. Clear rules. No debate. Because the moment you start negotiating with yourself, you lose. Maybe later. Just today I'll skip. I'll do double tomorrow. No. That is how discipline breaks. That is how habits collapse. That is how people stay stuck for years. You have a choice. Follow your rules, or follow your excuses. Let's make it real. Imagine it's late. You're tired. You don't feel like working. This is the exact moment that defines you. Not when it's easy. Not when you feel good. But right here, when everything in you wants to stop. If you push through, you win. If you quit, you reinforce weakness. That's the key. Repeat this. I do not negotiate with my goals. Again, I do not negotiate with my goals. This is your mindset now. No discussions. No emotional decisions. Only execution. Here's another truth. Discipline creates freedom. Most people think discipline is restrictive. They think it takes away their comfort. But in reality, it gives you control. When you are disciplined, you control your time. You control your habits. You control your outcomes. Without discipline, you are controlled by distractions, emotions, and impulses. That is not freedom, that is weakness. You have a choice. Be controlled, or take control. And understand this, discipline gets easier. Not because the work becomes easier, but because you become stronger. At the beginning, everything feels hard. Waking up early is hard. Staying consistent is hard. Avoiding distractions is hard. But after repetition, it becomes normal. It becomes automatic. It becomes who you are. That's the key. This is why the 90-day rule works. Because when you repeat disciplined actions every single day for 90 days, you are no longer forcing yourself. You are transformed. You don't think about skipping, you simply don't. You don't rely on motivation, you rely on your system. So here is your instruction. Build non-negotiables. Clear, simple actions you will do every day, no matter what. It could be 30 minutes of focused work. It could be a workout. It could be learning a skill. The action does not need to be perfect. It needs to be consistent. And when the moment comes, and it will come, when you don't feel like doing it, you remind yourself, this is why I must do it. Because discipline is built in resistance, not comfort. You are not here to feel good. You are here to become better. You've removed waiting. You've started killing your old identity. Now you are building discipline. Good. But there is another force working against you every single day, quietly shaping your behavior without you even realizing it. Your environment. If you don't control it, it will control you. You are building discipline. Now it's time to remove what's weakening you. Chapter 4. Control your environment, or stay weak. You think your problem is lack of discipline. It's not. Your problem is your environment. The things around you, your phone, your room, your friends, your routine, are shaping your behavior every single day. Silently. Constantly. Powerfully. You have a choice. Control your environment, or let it control you. That's the key. Look around you right now. What do you see? Distractions. Comfort. Easy dopamine. Your phone pulling your attention. Social media draining your focus. People around you who are not growing, not pushing, not demanding more from themselves. And you expect to become disciplined in that environment? It doesn't work like that. It's not about willpower. It's about design. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your environment. That's the truth. If your environment is weak, you will be weak. If your environment is focused, you will become focused. If your environment is structured, you will become disciplined. That's why some people change fast, not because they are better, but because their environment forces them to be better. You have a choice. Let's make this real. You say you want to focus, but your phone is always next to you. Notifications are on. Apps are open. Distractions are constant. And then you blame yourself for not concentrating. No, you didn't fail. Your environment was designed for failure. Fix it. Turn off notifications. Put your phone in another room. Create a space where work is the only option. This is not extreme. This is necessary. You don't need their permission to protect your focus. Let's talk about people. This is where it gets uncomfortable. The people around you either raise your standards or lower them. There is no neutral. If you are surrounded by people who complain, delay, and avoid responsibility, you will slowly become like them. Not because you want to, but because exposure creates behavior. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who act, execute, and demand more, you will be forced to grow. That's the key. You have a choice. Stay comfortable with familiar people, or grow with challenging ones. Now let's talk about your daily structure. Most people don't have one. They wake up without a plan, react to the day, and wonder why nothing changes. That is not a strategy. That is drift. Drift leads to failure. You need structure. Clear, intentional structure. Wake up at the same time. Work at the same time. Train at the same time. Rest at the same time. This removes decision making. And when you remove decisions, you remove excuses. It's not about motivation. It's about structure. Here's a powerful truth. Good environments make hard things easier. Bad environments make easy things harder. If your environment supports your goals, discipline becomes natural. If your environment fights your goals, discipline becomes exhausting. So why are you making it harder than it needs to be? You have a choice. Let's eliminate another mistake. People try to resist bad habits instead of removing them. They say, "I'll just use my phone less. I'll try to focus more. I'll control myself." No, that's weak strategy. Remove the trigger. Delete the apps. Limit access. Change your surroundings. Because willpower runs out. Environment doesn't. That's the key. You don't need to be stronger. You need to be smarter. Design your environment so the right actions are easy and the wrong actions are hard. Want to work more? Keep your workspace clean and ready. Want to eat better? Remove junk food completely. Want to train? Prepare your clothes in advance. Simple changes. Powerful results. This is how you win daily. Now understand this. Your environment is not just physical. It's also digital and mental. What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you consuming every day? If your mind is filled with noise, distraction, and negativity, your actions will reflect that. You cannot build a strong life with weak input. Replace it. Listen to content that pushes you. Consume ideas that challenge you. Fill your mind with discipline, not distraction. You have a choice. Repeat this. My environment shapes my actions. Again, my environment shapes my actions. Once you understand this, everything changes. You stop blaming yourself. You start fixing the system around you. And when the system is strong, results become automatic. This is how you accelerate your 90-day transformation. Not by trying harder, but by removing friction. Not by forcing discipline, but by designing it. Because when your environment is aligned, you don't need constant effort. You need consistency. That's the key. So here is your instruction. Today, you change your environment. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Remove distractions. Create structure. Control your space. Upgrade your inputs. Make your environment match the person you want to become. Because if you don't, nothing else will stick. You are no longer waiting. You are changing your identity. You are building discipline. Chapter 5. Build relentless daily systems. You don't fail because your goals are too big. You fail because your systems are too weak. That is the truth. Everyone has goals. Everyone wants to improve. But very few people build systems that force progress every single day. You have a choice. Chase goals and stay inconsistent. Or build systems and become unstoppable. That's the key. A goal is something you want. A system is something you do. And what you do daily always beats what you want occasionally. That's why most people stay stuck. They think about results, but they don't control their actions. They focus on outcomes, but they ignore process. It's not about the goal. It's about the system. Let's make it simple. If your goal is to lose weight, your system is daily movement and controlled eating. If your goal is to make money, your system is daily focused work and skill building. If your goal is discipline, your system is showing up no matter what. You don't need to overcomplicate this. You need to repeat it. You have a choice. Here's where people go wrong. They rely on bursts of effort. One day they work hard. The next day they do nothing. One week they are focused. The next week they disappear. This pattern destroys progress. Because success is not built in intensity, it is built in consistency. 30 minutes every day beats 5 hours once a week. One disciplined action daily beats random effort. That's the key. Your system must be simple, clear, repeatable. If it's complicated, you won't follow it. If it's unclear, you won't commit to it. If it's inconsistent, it won't work. So simplify everything. Pick 2 to 3 daily non-negotiables. That's it. For example, work on your goal for 1 hour. Train your body for 30 minutes. Learn something new for 20 minutes. Simple actions. Repeated daily. No excuses. You don't need their permission to build your system. Now understand this. Systems remove decision-making. And decision-making is where most people fail. Every time you ask yourself, should I do this? You create space for excuses. Every time you hesitate, you weaken your discipline. A system removes that. You don't ask. You execute. It's already decided. That's power. Let's talk about tracking. What gets tracked gets improved. If you don't measure your actions, you will lie to yourself. You will think you are working hard when you are not. You will believe you are consistent when you are not. So track everything. Did you complete your work today? Did you train today? Did you follow your system? Yes or no? No emotions. No excuses. Just facts. You have a choice. Face the truth, or stay comfortable in denial. Here's another truth. Your system must work on your worst days, not your best days. Anyone can perform when they feel good. Anyone can work when they are motivated. That means nothing. Your system is tested when you are tired, when you are stressed, when you don't feel like it. And on those days, your system must still be followed. Even if you do less, you still show up. That's the key. Let's remove perfection. Perfection destroys systems. You think, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. That mindset keeps you stuck. Instead, focus on completion. Done is better than perfect. Consistency is better than intensity. If your system says 1 hour of work and you only manage 30 minutes, good. You still showed up. You still reinforced the habit. Because the goal is not perfection. The goal is repetition. Repeat this. I trust my system, not my feelings. Again, I trust my system, not my feelings. This is your new rule. Your system does not change based on mood. Your system does not depend on motivation. Your system runs every day. That's the difference between average and elite. Now let's talk about momentum. When you follow your system daily, something powerful happens. You stop starting over. Most people live in a cycle of starting and stopping. They lose progress, regain it, lose it again. That cycle kills confidence. But when you follow a system, you build momentum. And momentum makes everything easier. You don't have to force yourself. You don't have to think too much. You simply continue. That's the key. This is how you win the 90-day transformation. Not by doing something big once, but by doing something small every day. Day 1, Day 2, Day 3, all the way to Day 90. No breaks. No resets. No excuses. Because every day you follow your system, you are building a new version of yourself. And that version is consistent, reliable, disciplined. So here is your instruction. Build your daily system today, not tomorrow. Now, choose your non-negotiables. Write them down. Track them. Execute them. Every single day. No matter what. You are no longer waiting. You've killed your old identity. You've built discipline. You've controlled your environment. Now you have a system. Good. But there is still one thing that can destroy everything you've built. Excuses? They sound small. They feel harmless. But they are the reason most people never finish what they start. You have built momentum. Now it's time to remove the one habit that can break it instantly. Chapter 6. Eliminate excuses completely. Excuses are the most dangerous habit you have. Not because they sound weak, but because they sound reasonable. That's why they work. That's why they keep you stuck. You tell yourself, "I'm tired, I'm busy, I'll start tomorrow." And it feels valid. It feels justified. But the result is always the same, no progress. You have a choice. Keep your excuses, or change your life. You cannot have both. That's the key. Let's be direct. Every excuse is a decision. A decision to stay the same. A decision to avoid discomfort. A decision to delay your future. You think excuses protect you, but they don't. They trap you. Because every time you use one, you reinforce a pattern. You teach yourself that it's okay to quit, okay to delay, okay to break your word. And once that pattern is strong, it becomes your identity. That's the danger. It's not about your situation. It's about your response. There are people who are tired and still execute. There are people who are busy and still make time. There are people who are struggling and still move forward. So what's the difference? No excuses? That's the key. You need to understand something clearly. Your brain is designed to protect you from discomfort. It will always look for the easiest path. It will always suggest reasons to stop. That voice in your head saying, "Take it easy today, you deserve a break. Start tomorrow," that voice is not helping you. It is limiting you. And if you keep listening to it, you will stay exactly where you are. You have a choice. Let's expose the most common excuses. I don't have time. You have time. You just don't control it. Check your phone usage. Check your daily routine. The time is there. You are just not using it correctly. I'm too tired. You are not always tired. You are undisciplined with your energy. And even if you are tired, you can still do something. Maybe not perfectly, but enough to stay consistent. I'll start tomorrow. No, you won't. Because tomorrow becomes the next tomorrow. And the cycle never ends. These are not problems. These are patterns. And patterns can be broken. Here's the rule. Simple. Non-negotiable. No excuses. Only adjustments. If you can't do 1 hour, do 30 minutes. If you can't do 30, do 10. If you can't do 10, do something. But you never skip. Because skipping is the beginning of failure. That's the key. It's not about perfection. It's about standards. Your standard is simple. I do what I said I would do. No matter how you feel. No matter how your day looks. No matter what happens. Because once you lower your standards, everything collapses. You have a choice. Protect your comfort, or protect your standards. Let's talk about responsibility. Most people blame external factors. They blame their job, their schedule, their situation, other people. But blame changes nothing. Responsibility changes everything. When you take full responsibility, you take full control. You stop saying, "It's not my fault," and start saying, "It's my move." That shift is powerful. Because now you are no longer waiting for conditions to change. You are creating change. Repeat this: no excuses. Only execution. Again, no excuses. Only execution. This is your mindset now. You don't explain. You don't justify. You act. That's the key. Here's a hard truth. Excuses feel good in the moment, but they create long-term regret. Discipline feels hard in the moment, but it creates long-term pride. So the question is simple. Which pain do you want? The pain of discipline or the pain of regret? You have a choice. Now understand this. Your 90-day transformation depends on this chapter more than anything else. You can have the best system. You can have the best plan. You can have strong motivation. But if you allow excuses, everything breaks. Because excuses destroy consistency. And consistency is everything. So here is your instruction. From this moment forward, you eliminate excuses completely. You catch them the moment they appear. You replace them with action. You follow through, no matter what. You don't negotiate. You don't delay. You execute. Every single day. This is how you separate yourself from average. Average people explain why they can't. Winners prove that they can. Average people wait for better conditions. Winners create results in any condition. Average people live in excuses. Winners live in execution. That's the difference. That's the key. You are no longer waiting. You've changed your identity. You've built discipline. You've controlled your environment. You've created systems. And now you've removed excuses. Good. Now you are ready for the final shift. Because once excuses are gone, there is only one thing left that determines how far you go. Your level of obsession with progress. You've removed what holds you back. Now it's time to push forward, relentlessly. Chapter 7: Become obsessed with progress. Average people want results. Winners become obsessed with progress. That is the difference. Results are slow. Progress is daily. If you only focus on results, you will get frustrated, distracted, and eventually quit. But if you focus on progress, small, measurable, daily improvement, you become unstoppable. You have a choice. Chase outcomes and lose patience. Or track progress and build momentum. That's the key. Let's be clear. Obsession is not a weakness here. It is a requirement. You are trying to change your life in 90 days. That does not happen with casual effort. That does not happen with, "I'll try." That happens with focus, repetition, and constant awareness of improvement. You don't need their permission to be obsessed with becoming better. You need to decide that average is no longer acceptable. Progress is proof. It's evidence that your system is working. It's feedback that your actions matter. And when you see progress, even small progress, your confidence grows. Your discipline strengthens. Your identity shifts. That's why tracking is not optional, it's necessary. What gets tracked gets improved. You measure your actions daily. Did you follow your system? Yes or no? Did you complete your work? Yes or no? Did you train, learn, execute? Yes or no? No guessing. No emotions. Just data. You have a choice. Most people fail because they rely on feeling instead of tracking. They say, "I think I did enough," or "I feel like I'm improving." That is weak. Feelings lie. Data tells the truth. If you didn't track it, It didn't happen. That's the standard now. It's not about perfection. It's about visibility. Because when you see your progress, you stay locked in. When you don't see it, you drift. Here's another truth. Progress compounds. Small improvements, repeated daily, create massive results over time. One extra rep, one extra hour, one better decision. It looks small in the moment, but over 90 days, it becomes transformation. This is how people change their bodies. This is how people build income. This is how people develop discipline. Not in one big moment, but in hundreds of small wins. That's the key. Now understand this. Progress requires honesty. You cannot lie to yourself anymore. If you skipped, you write it down. If you failed, you admit it. If you wasted time, you face it. Because honesty creates awareness. And awareness creates change. Most people avoid this. They protect their ego. They make excuses. They pretend they are doing better than they are. And that's why they stay stuck. You have a choice. Protect your ego, or build your future. Let's talk about standards. Once you start tracking progress, your standards must rise. You don't celebrate showing up once. You expect it. You don't praise basic effort. You demand consistency. Because progress is not a one-time event. It is a daily requirement. Repeat this. I improve every single day. Again, I improve every single day. That's your mindset now. Here's where obsession becomes powerful. You start looking for ways to improve everything. How can I work better? How can I focus more? How can I execute faster? How can I remove distractions? You are no longer passive. You are active. You are engaged. You are constantly refining your system. That's what obsession looks like. It's not about doing more randomly. It's about doing better intentionally. You don't waste energy. You don't guess. You optimize. And when you optimize daily, progress becomes inevitable. That's the key. Let's remove another mistake. People compare their results to others. They look at someone ahead and feel discouraged. They look at someone behind and feel comfortable. Both are distractions. Your only competition is your previous self. Are you better than yesterday? Are you stronger than last week? Are you more disciplined than before? That's all that matters. You have a choice. Here's a powerful shift. Stop focusing on how far you have to go. Start focusing on how far you've come and how much you can improve today. Because the moment you focus on today's progress, you regain control. And control creates confidence. This is how you sustain your 90-day transformation. Not by chasing motivation. Not by hoping for results. But by locking into progress. Daily. Measurable. Non-negotiable. So here is your instruction. Track everything. Write it down. Measure it. Review it. Every single day. No exceptions. Because what you track, you improve. And what you improve transforms your life. You are no longer waiting. You've changed your identity. You've built discipline. You've controlled your environment. You've created systems. You've eliminated excuses. And now, you are tracking progress with obsession. Good. Now understand this. Very few people make it this far. And even fewer finish strong. Because starting is easy. Continuing is hard. Finishing is rare. You've built everything you need. Now it's time to bring it all together. No distractions. No weakness. No stopping.